All right, guys. So yet again, to show you the Republican desperation against Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, they've trotted out this argument that they're leaning on heavily to go after the ticket. Okay? The argument is, well, you're an anti-Semite, Kamala. What? How? Why? What are you talking about? Well, you didn't pick the guy who was in the running and who was one of the final two for your VP. You didn't pick Governor Josh Shapiro, who happens to be Jewish and is the governor of Pennsylvania. Really? This is what we're doing? So here we go. Fox News guest says, you can't discount the anti-Semitism factor on the left in why Harris chose Walz over Shapiro. The anti-Semitism factor. All right, so let's be clear about a couple things. Josh Shapiro has a number of things that are not good in his background. He wants to cut corporate taxes. He's in favor of charter schools. And then, yes, he has a very extreme position on Israel. There's tweets of him praising Netanyahu and sucking off AIPAC. And he very famously tried to use the anti-BDS laws to go after Ben & Jerry's, the ice cream company, because Ben & Jerry's wanted to stop selling their ice cream in the illegally occupied territories in Israel. Not in all of Israel, but in the illegally occupied territories. He very famously compared pro-Palestine protesters who are anti-genocide to the Ku Klux Klan. So yeah, he had a lot of issues. By the way, he also ruled a suicide, a woman's death that included like 11 stabs in the back. And come to find out, the person who was the suspect was a donor to him. A little sketchy. A little bit sketchy to say the least. But look, is he one of the more extreme candidates on the issue of Israel? A stronger backer of Israel than others like Tim Walz? Yeah. But that has nothing to do with anti-Semitism. That means the left is correctly saying, we don't want fanatical pro-genocide candidates to represent us. We don't want that. We want somebody who at least gives us a little shred, a little sliver of hope that maybe they'll stop arming and funding a genocidal maniac. It's got nothing to do with being Jewish. It has to do with being an ultra-Zionist. There are plenty of Jews who are totally anti-Zionism. But of course, they don't care. There's just a smear that they're trotting out. So now apparently Kamala is an anti-Semite, even though she's married to a Jewish person. All right. And she also is a Zionist. And Tim Walz is also a Zionist. They're just perhaps not as extreme as Josh Shapiro is on this issue. And there are specific reasons to believe that. It's not just a broad, because he's Jewish, therefore he's more extreme on the issue. No, it's his actual fucking record, you hacks. All right. We got more. Josh Shapiro had too much baggage to be the Dem VP nominee, and that baggage was being Jewish. Why do people make shit up? Why can't you be honest? I think maybe the fact that he ruled a woman's death as a suicide, even though she had stab wounds in her back, I think maybe that was also a big factor. Maybe. Call me crazy. By the way, the right was salivating out at the mouth for Josh Shapiro, even though they say they weren't. They absolutely were. And we know that because they had already printed flyers to go after Josh Shapiro at an event J.D. Vance was at the same day Kamala announced her pick. So they thought it was going to be Shapiro, and they were ready to open the gates of hell on him. All right, more. Josh Shapiro is governor of the most important state in this election. He is the most experienced leader and gifted orator of the remaining strong candidates. Joe Scarborough totally overlooks and disregards the fact that very clearly Josh Shapiro is doing a dollar store Obama impression. If you think that's just my opinion, the other day Josh Shapiro was giving a speech and you had Obama's own speechwriter was basically like, Jesus Christ, he ripped off every aspect of Obama. The tone, the rhythm, the cadence, the hand motions, the looks, where he points his head when he fucking talks. You're just going to overlook that. Joe Scarborough, you're going to overlook that. I could see the fucking ads running now. J.D. Vance already accurately called out, this guy is just doing an Obama impression. You could see the ads where you splice together, this is Obama saying something, this is Shapiro saying something. And by the way, I'd be willing to bet a decent amount of money. I bet you Josh Shapiro has stolen exact lines and plagiarized Obama. So not just doing his mannerisms, but also doing, like, literally taking his lines from speeches. I guarantee you they'd be able to dig that up. I have no doubt they'd be able to dig that up. Okay, but to Scarborough, no, he just overlooks it. Okay, let's continue. He would present voters with the most dynamic ticket since Clinton Gore in 1992 and will be ready to serve on day one. The whisper campaigns against Josh Shapiro have dark undertones. Breaking news, he's Jewish. But just as Thatcher was identified as a game-changing force in politics instead of a woman, Josh Shapiro's strengths and talents would easily transcend bigotry and identity politics. You guys are the only ones bringing up that he's Jewish. You're the only ones bringing it up. The idea that there's this movement on the left, you cannot pick him because he's Jewish. The left, we are the people who went to the mat for one Bernard Sanders, who is also Jewish, both in 2016 and in 2020. And we're the ones that Bernie would have won. That's us. That's the left. These are the same people they're accusing. You just hate Jews. Are you... Can we, for once in our lives, have an honest political discussion instead of this absolute garbage? I'm going to lose my damn mind, man. I'm going to lose my damn mind. This one is actually kind of funny. So Eric Erickson, I know, two first name have an ass idiot, used to be a bigger right-wing commentator. Now he's mostly irrelevant. But he tweeted, no Jews allowed at the top of the Democratic Party. Okay, so right off the bat, Chuck Schumer chimes in and says, news to me, Chuck Schumer is Jewish. Of course. In fact, there are way more Jewish people at the top of the Democrats and at the top of the Republicans. It's a minority, of course, because Jews are a minority in the country, but there's way more Democrats than there are Republicans. But I love the community note. The Senate Majority Leader, Secretaries of State, Treasury, Homeland Security, Attorney General, Director of National Intelligence, and the husband of the 2024 presidential nominee are all Jewish. Oops. These people are so pathetic, bro. What am I going to do with these people? All right. Nikki Haley, ready? Remember, this is coming from the same person who's, I'm against identity politics. Identity politics is stupid and dumb, and let's do things based on merit and blah, 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 blah. Nikki Haley says, Democrats are going to have to explain this movement towards deeper anti-Semitism. We are seeing it in the protests, in the rhetoric by the squad and members of Congress, and now in the VP pick. What? They can't talk this away as coincidence. It's concerning. So just making a VP pick who wasn't Jewish is now anti-Semitism, according to Nikki Haley. You picked the non-Jewish guy, so you're anti-Semitic. So by that logic, when Republicans don't pick a black running mate, is that racist? When they don't pick a woman, is that sexist? When they don't pick a Jew, is that anti-Semitic? J.D. Vance is not black. He's not a woman. He's not a Jew. But for some reason, you give that a total fucking pass. I don't think there was a single Jewish person in the running to be Trump's VP. How is that not deeper anti-Semitism than whatever fucking bullshit fake anti-Semitism you're doing here about the Democrats? I can't deal with these people, man. They're all liars. And then, by the way, AIPAC tracker underneath, spitting fire. Nikki Haley taking $1.19 million from AIPAC. And really, that's how they think of this issue. They were like, you need to pick the most fanatical, insane, pro-Israel freak in the country who's cheerleading a genocide. And if you don't do that, then you hate all Jews. Now, I mean, again, I'm losing my mind. The fact that, everything is so fucking dishonest, I can't stand it. All right, one more. J.D. Vance blames anti-Semitism in advance if Kamala Harris does not pick Josh Shapiro as VP. But, guys, they desperately wanted Shapiro as VP because they know he's the easiest to go after. They lie and say the opposite. They say Shapiro would have been a great pick. We had nothing on him, and Waltz is a horrible pick. They're lying. There's way more shit on Josh Shapiro, not even close. But, again, it's just stupid identity politics. Let's be as clear as possible here. The same party, the Republicans, that say they hate identity politics, spent the whole last week shitting on Kamala Harris because she's not black. She turned black. She's actually Indian. She's not black. Let's talk about her race. Let's talk about her gender. Let's talk about those. They act like they've never heard of the concept of biracial. Kamala didn't bring up that she was biracial. They keep bringing up that she's not black. She turned black. She's sort of like a transracialist or something. They brought it up. The anti-identity politics people spent all last week talking about identity shit. Now they're spending all this week calling Kamala Harris an anti-Semite. And by the way, the other thing that they've been talking about nonstop, Tim Waltz thinks trans people are human beings, and he signed bills in accordance with that. And so they're shitting on him for treating trans people decently. So we got talking about race nonstop, talking about anti-Semitism nonstop, and talking about trans stuff nonstop. And they have the nerve to say, bro, the left won't shut up with identity politics, bro. They won't shut up with identity. In Kamala's response to Trump's unhinged race attacks, she didn't even talk about it. She was just like, yeah, whatever. You're dividing us. This is chaotic. Shut up. So you tell me who are the identity politics people who are obsessed. And by the way, who's lying? Because we know in no uncertain terms, these are pathetic lies. They know they're lies. They know this is what you do when you have absolutely nothing. You smear relentlessly. You don't have anything on their record. You can't attack them on the substance. You know you're not offering anything. You're offering standard Republican politics, the exact same as George W. Bush. So what do? I don't know. I'll just fucking throw mud against the wall and hope it sticks. You hate all Jews. All of you hate all Jews. Why? Because you don't want to pick the person who's most pro-genocide of the bunch. I have nothing but disdain for these people. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.